asexualise.com and author of Asexual Perspectives out on Amazon. If you just landed on this channel, this is a channel to be if you wanted to be educated about asexuality. So hit that subscribe button now. So today I want to talk to you about the fakers. There are so many fakers right now on asexual dating sites, and they're coming and infiltrating Facebook groups as well, and it's something that I really have to warn you about. I got a guy the other day on Facebook. I approached him. He lived in the UK. I thought he looked not bad, but when I got chatting to him, by the second email he was saying, I'm sexually attracted to you, and in the same email, this same second email, he said, I'm not interested in sex. But then further down the email he started saying, well, what about slow sex? So by definition, he is not asexual. He's sexually attracted to me for a start, and then he's asking for sex straight in the second email. I mean, this is just ridiculous. People like this shouldn't be on the asexual dating sites. I recently had someone posting today in one of my asexual groups that he went out on a date with a guy who said he was asexual, and he wasn't. So he was bringing up the fact that he wanted to have, do sexual stuff. It's ridiculous. There are so many fakers out there right now. I was in one of the asexual groups, and I spotted a guy, and I can tell usually, I hate to say it, but I can tell a lot of the time just by looking at guys' picture now. And I can fathom out that they're not really asexual. I know that sounds really bad and judgmental in a way, but it's also quite a talent and a gift I've got, because obviously if I can spot them quicker now than I could do before, then I can save myself a lot of heartache. So anyway, I approached this guy and said, I'm asexual too. And then as the conversation progressed just a little bit, he said, I'm not asexual, I'm just bi-curious. And I'm like, what the hell is bi-curious? But I didn't say it like that. I'm like, oh, what's that then? And then he said something to me, pretending that it was okay for him to be in the asexual group. And I said, no, it's not. I've read no, I didn't tell him I've read it, but I read what it was on Google. And I said to him that I know what it is, and that's not true what you told me. It basically is a heterosexual guy that's interested in having sex with the same gender. And I said, if you're not, and he said he's not asexual. He actually said those words to me. So I said, if you're not asexual, then you shouldn't be in the group. You should be looking for bisexual groups. Oh, well, where are they? I said, just search for them on Facebook. I'm sure there's lots of them. So it's ridiculous. Why are people going in these groups? And he said he was in there because there was other bi-curious people. So goodness knows if there's more sexual people in that group than asexual, and he knows them. I don't know, but it's just ridiculous. And, what are they hoping to achieve? Getting sex out of us? Is that the main end of the game? I know some people who are sexual go into asexual groups and they think it's a sexual group, as in not asexual group, but an asexual. So it's a sexual group. Asexual, asexual group. They don't realise it's asexual. They think it's for sexuals. In other words, if you understand what I mean. And I do understand that confusion. And a lot of them, they just hit loads of dating sites. I mean, I check people, the majority of people coming into my dating groups. And when I go through their profile, especially if they haven't not already in any asexual dating groups, I'll have a look at it. I'll have a look what groups they're in. And if they've just liked loads of different dating and sex groups, then I know they're just clicking through for another dating group. And they just think, oh yeah, I'll be part of that dating group as well, So it's not on. And I just want you to be very, very aware of all the fakers out there. So make sure you ask the right questions. So what questions can you ask? Ask them, where do you fall on the asexual spectrum? Don't go around telling them the whole spectrum before you've asked them the question, where do you fall on the spectrum? Yes, some asexuals may not know the spectrum, but a lot of us know there are variations to the orientation. And further probing can see whether they just are very new to asexuality and didn't know about the spectrum, or where they're just faking it. Ask them questions. So that question is, where do you fall on the asexual spectrum? Second question you should ask them is, when did you find out you are asexual? when did you find out you're asexual? You know, you need to know the backstory, right? Because if they can't give you a backstory, or the umming and ahhing, they're going to try and make something up and it's going to just be ridiculous. And then, you know, you can probe some more. You can say, okay, so what do you like then? Kissing, cuddling. And then if they're sexual, a lot of the time they'll start going, well, yeah, and a bit more, and a bit more of this, and a bit more of that. And then you can say about, you know, so, you know, you can find out sometimes if they're just virgins and they're abstaining from sex for marriage. Because in some countries and cultures, that's what they do. They're not asexual, but they're like, oh, I'm asexual now because I'm not having sex. Well, that isn't asexuality, isn't it? Just abstaining from sex is not asexuality. But they're portraying like they are asexual. And some of those are after getting married, so they can have sex with you. So, do you see what I mean? And I've got people in my groups that have been hurt by fakers on asexual dating sites and been taken for a ride. So, it's really important you know there are asexual fakers out there. I'm sorry, but it's the case. I'm really sorry to tell you that, if you didn't already know it. I mean, I've had a person recently approach me asking me if I'm going to start an asexual dating site, an official asexual dating site. And I would love to do that, but obviously it requires a lot of money, and also I'd probably have to charge for it if I was going to do it properly. Because, like she said, there's so many fakers on these other asexual dating sites, she's fed up with it. But in order to run a dating site properly, you have to have someone working really full-time in it, vetting these people. You know, making sure that they're real and they're not just on there scamming. I mean, when I first went on asexuality.com, it's a lot better now, there was people on there asking for money. You know, they're just like, oh, can we talk, you know, straight away, first message, can we talk by email? If someone asks you to talk by email straight away in their first message without even introducing themselves, no, it's a bit dodgy, right? So, yeah, you've got to be so careful. So those are some of the questions to ask, and then you can start assessing things. Just don't give everything away about asexuality before you've asked them, because you can give it away. If they start talking going, well, I'm not sure, then you can think, oh, well, I'll help them out. No, if they're not sure, what are they sure about? You know, when did they find out they're asexual? You know, what sites are they on? What groups are they in? What do they know about it? You know, okay, you're asexual, so what do you like? Kissing, cuddling, you know, where are you at with the whole sexual thing then, or not sexual thing? You know, what do you think of romance? You know, what do you think of touching? Do you see where I'm coming from? You need to dive deep into these things if you really like someone especially, because I don't want you getting hurt. And, you know, I really wished all these fakers would go off these sites, but they're not going to. I mean, whatever dating site you set up, there's always going to be some people that do fall through the net. But with some of these asexual dating sites, there's more of them falling through the net. You know, I mean, if they do a profile right as well, and they don't put what orientation of asexuality they are, that is one indicator that they're not really asexual. Because most asexuals who understand themselves and remotely, you know, they put something usually like, oh, I think I'm heteromantic, or as far as I know, I'm this, so far I'm still learning, or something like that. They don't put nothing. So if you get, you know, offered to a friend request by someone who hasn't put any orientation, or, you know, I'm into women or something. And another thing, they might say, oh, hi, I like fun times and I like enjoying myself and having lots of friends. Please contact me on Kik, okay? You know, and it's just really short bursts of stuff. That's like a pickup line. That's like someone coming up to me and saying to me, hey, do you want to go for a drink? Like, that, you know, that's the equivalent of that, because they haven't given anything away. They're not saying where they're from, some of them even. They're not saying, you know, what they're looking for, their hobbies and interests. It's just like, hey, check me out on Kik. I don't even have Kik, you know. They do that a lot. Or you know, check me out on here. There's no, you know, there's no I'm asexual. It's just like they've come on like they're on a dating site and, hey, check, you know, let's talk off here and check me out type thing because I'm so hot. You know, that's the impression they give. So just watch out for all these signs. You know, I'm not saying everyone with all, with some of these things. I'm not saying they're all fakers. There are genuine people that are asexual. I'm asexual. I hold asexual meetups in the UK. I'm meeting 2 more guys that are in my asexual dating groups. I'm meeting them in person at the next meet in May next month, 2018, when this video is recorded, in Exeter. So I'm really pleased. I'm meeting someone from the demisexual and grey asexual dating group and someone from my Asexualise dating no sex dating group. So it's going to be really, really good to meet those guys, And there's an asexual guy in my city that I meet over sometimes. There's an asexual guy in a city not far away from me. There are genuine asexual guys and genuine asexual women. I mean, I'm going on about guys a lot of the time when I'm talking as well, because I'm a girl and this is my experience. But I was also referring to a guy earlier, a homo-romantic guy in one of my groups that had a date. He had a physical date with someone with a guy who said he was asexual and he's not. So it happens to all of us. I just really want to, from the bottom of my heart, say I hope that, I wish these fakers would go and do one, to be quite honest. And also, I want to say, I really hope that you don't get caught with one of these fakers, because there are quite a few around now. They're really infiltrating us sometimes, I feel. And it's really sad, I think. There's enough sexual people out there in the world for them. It's like, please, there's enough sexual people. There's enough sexual dating sites. There's enough sexual groups. Just go on them, There's enough of them. There's enough of them to fulfill all your sexual needs. So just go. I'm quite happy if they want to have sex with tons of people want to have sex with them. If everything's, if they're all happy, there's no abuse going on, great. Live it up, love it up, have loads of sex if that's what you want, but keep it away from me and other people that are asexual that don't want sex. I'm not saying every asexual is not open to having sex. I'm not saying that, because I know some asexuals are. But in the main, asexuality is about lack of sexual attraction, and we don't tend to get an urge, want or need for it. Whereas these people who are sexual, they tend to, the majority of them, I'm not saying all of them, because I know some people that are heterosexual, for example, and they're not very sexual, and they're not going on about sex, they're not even having sexual relationships some of the time, I know these people, I know they're out there, but I'm saying a lot of the sexual people that are on, these sexual dating sites that are coming over to us, there's enough sex out there for you to have. You don't need us that doesn't want sex in the main. You don't need us. Go. Be with your kind that will give you what you want and satisfy your needs, And, I would love to be able to say that sexuals don't need sex, and some, can probably live without it. But I think they're very few and far between. In fact, I know someone who lives without it. But I'm not saying they're happy about it, though. But, so it can happen. But just remember, be safe. Ask your questions. Make them questions that put that person in a situation where really they've got to give you answers. And if they're not giving you the right answers, that they're probably not asexual. They'll give up in the end. A lot of them give up. They're like, well, I'm not really asexual, because they get fed up with the questions, right? They don't know what you're talking about. Some of them, though, are clever. They will go and Google it. But then they will give you the very basic textbook definition, and with some more probing, you'll find out they're not really asexual. But like I said, I mean, I think some of the, I can usually spot an asexual person on a dating site by their profile picture a lot of the time now, which, yeah, you might think that's really bad, me saying that, and judgmental, but in order for you to be safe in this life, you have to judge as well. Okay, I know it's really harsh to say that. I know we don't want to be judged. None of us likes to be judged. I'm not saying, I'm not included in that, but I know people are going to judge me. Of course they are. I'm an acquired taste, aren't I? There you go. I don't expect everyone to like me. That's fine. But what I'm saying is I've got to a stage now where I can, not all the time, but I can see someone on an asexual dating site and think, you're not really asexual. And then I will ask the questions to find out if I'm right. And usually, I'm right. So yeah, it's a gift, but it's also kind of like weird at the same time. I'm like, how do you know this, Sandra? Just by looking at that picture. But I do. And sometimes I just don't let people in my groups, if they're not in other asexual dating groups, and I look at their situation, their profile, feel that energy, as it were, I just can tell. I'm like, no, I'm not even risking it. You know, I'm not risking who I think might be sexual in my groups. You know, of course I do let a lot of people into my groups, but I am very picky at the same time in comparison to some other admins. I'm choosy, you know, I don't just like think, oh right, they've applied, let's let them in. I'm not that type of person. In the main, most people are good in my group, so I have one group where people keep coming in it who are not very good, shall we say. So keep having to like say, okay, out you go. You know, it's a civilised group. Everyone's really friendly and kind and caring. I don't want people in there that are not going to abide by the rules and respect. And that I don't want people in there that are not really asexual either. So, I know this has been a bit of a rant video for you, but let me know what you think. Have you had any asexual fakers on asexual dating sites that you come across? Have you had them in person? People saying to you, I'm asexual too, but really they very much aren't asexual. Have you ever been conned by an asexual and got into a situation you really wish you hadn't? You know, if you do, feel free to share it in the comments, please do. I'd love to know what you think. I think this, you know, really is an issue at the moment, and I wanted to bring it to your attention, as always, to make sure that you're as safe as possible. Okay, until next time, embrace your quirky. If you haven't checked out my Asexual Perspectives book yet, go and do it on Amazon now. It's a fantastic book. Links are down below. And I will see you on the next video. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, share, and if you haven't already subscribed, hit that button now. Hit the bell button underneath the subscribe button and you'll get notifications every time I post a new video. Bye bye.